then you guys, let's open it up for questions.
How do you spell his last name?
Deedrick, D-E-E-D-R-I-C-K. D-E-E-D-R-I-C-K.
Thank you.
So everybody, this is Lieutenant Deedrick with the LA County Homeless Outreach Services team. Nice to see you guys.
Oh, well, good morning.
Good morning. We're not asleep.
So this is part of our team. So we'll start off with my partner, Lieutenant Bill Kitchen. We've got Sergeant Eric Airhorn.
Good morning.
Sergeant Cox.
Good morning.
Deputy Sanchez.
Good morning.
Deputy Guerrero. And who are we missing with? I think that's it for right now.
I got a couple of Marines in the group.
I was going to let them tell you. Go ahead.
Bill Kitchen, active duty, United States Marine Corps. I was in from 93 to 97. Here I am. Deputy Sanchez, I was United States Marine from 98 to 06, Iraq veteran. Welcome home.
Joined the Marine Corps in 1995, retired in 2016, and did deployments to Iraq.
I don't hear no Army representation now. That's the real deal. Is that right, fella? Yeah.
So we had to bring all the clan eaters.
So we're going to give Lieutenant Deedrick the opportunity to give you an idea of what the host team is and how they operate, and then we'll be open for questions after that.
So first of all, thank you for coming to talk to us. The host team, and that's the Homeless Outreach Services team, is probably the most unique team in the country. There's other models of it now, but we were the first co-response team in law enforcement. And to make a long story short, what it was a team of experienced and mature deputy sheriffs that understood the guardian capacity of law enforcement. And we'll talk about that in a bit, but what that means is it's not all hooking and booking and crime. It's also giving back to the community, a community caretaking function, being connected. And that's one of the things that we kind of forgot along the way is all the connections that we have within the county government because we're part of the county government. A lot of the social, well actually all of the social service things, the mental health component, a lot of things that law enforcement's connected to, but in the past it wasn't used. Deputies were never trained on how to use it. There was no real system until the LA County Homeless Initiative. When the LA County Homeless Initiative was developed, they gave us a seat at the table, thank God. And what that did was it enabled law enforcement to be a different part of the community, kind of using the, you've all heard of community-oriented policing, basically being a foundational part of the county and a foundational part of every community that we serve. And so basically it goes back to walking foot beats, knowing the business owners, being invited to dinner at someone's house because they know you now. And that was the model. It then exploded when El Nino, do you guys remember El Nino? Remember how it was going to rain in Southern California, it was going to go all the way to the ocean? Well, at the time, the county was like, uh-oh, we have a lot of people living in these riverbeds that are experiencing homelessness. What's going to happen to them if these floods come? So you're looking at the men, and we have women on our team also, the men and women that ensured that all 900 people in those riverbeds didn't get hurt. We were successful, 0 uses of force, 0 arrests, all 900 people came out of the riverbed voluntarily in the 60 days, 90 days leading up to that flood. What it taught us was we can be humans, right? A lot of people see this and they forget there's a person behind it. So it taught us things, and we learned a lot from the people that we were interacting with. There were people that lived in the riverbeds from 5 years to 20 years to 3 weeks. But we learned that if we gave them a moment and we used compassion and dignity and respect that we could get to the end result, which was, I don't want you to die in the riverbed. I want you to come up here and then let's work on something else. We found people presenting in crisis, mental health conditions, substance abuse. We have with us today Dr. Pietro D'Angelo and Dr. Jose Navarez, if you could raise your hand. They're the two, in my opinion, leading psychologists in the world that taught me probably almost everything I know. They taught us how to interact with things that we're not usually used to dealing with, how to listen to understand, not to just talk, but listen to what you're telling me. And there's a lot of things that come with that, but you're not used to a cop saying these things. But basically what we do is we look at what is the end goal, is health, striving, thriving, a better life in whatever part we can be, and opening doors to doors that sometimes aren't opened. That's what the host team does. And that is our model. We've never deviated from it, be it in a riverbed, be it in a mountain, be it on a sidewalk, or be it at Venice Beach. Our system is the same. And it's we're on a humanitarian mission to improve whatever lives we can touch. We've been here though since 2017. We stopped right before COVID because everything was crazy, right? We had to get out in the population and make sure that people experiencing homelessness knew there was a dang disease coming, things and ways to help themselves. But we could talk all day about COVID. I think we all got it. But we haven't been back until now. We know there's been some recent events. We also know that there's avenues of help that maybe some people, men and women here, aren't getting. And so we wanted to hear from you. This is an open forum, so when we talk, I'm sure you'll let us have it, but we want to hear what are the barriers, what are the challenges. We spoke with Rob the other day, and I have the history here, and Bill Kitchen, my partner lieutenant, we were here before, but the bottom line is we have a job to do, and our job in this situation is interacting with everyone on the sidewalk because we need to fix it. There's some federal cases that are going on right now. There's another county and state case. So at the end of the day, our goal would be to have no one on the sidewalk. That's the bottom line. One, it's unhealthy, and we'll get to that stuff. But the reason for us being here today is starting day one listening to you. So I'm going to stop talking because I want to hear from you. Like I said, there's no rules other than civility, right? We'll respect one another because we start with that with you, is we respect each and every one of you. Another thing I'll touch on, I said I was stopping, then I keep going, is it's not just us. We wanted to hear from you today, but our team at the end of the day is going to involve a ton of people. Our team is a collaborative team. We have outreach workers from the civilian side embedded with us. There's not a lot of them, but we also partner with St. Joseph's. We partner with PATH. We partner with mental health. We partner with everyone. So it is a different co-response team. I'll end it there, but that's important. As we go forward, those partners will be instrumental. What we provide is safety and security. Because when you have safety and security, then you start to thrive. If you're worried about every single thing, every single moment, that's a pretty stressful existence. And so our presence here is to ensure that everything is safe and secure. And if we get there, that's going to be a pretty cool place. And I think a partnership together, an honest one, not deceiving, an honest relationship, if we can help get you to the services that you need, that's the goal. So now I'll stop. So yeah.
I just want to thank you guys for coming and listening to our veterans who are in need of help. And I think all of you guys are blessed, and I think we're stepping in the right direction. I'm glad you're here to listen to this side of town right here and find out what we can do together to make sure that we are all coinciding together.
Yeah.
We don't want to create chaos, and we know we're helping enough chaos. And we need your help to help us divide and sort out basically a little mess. And I hope that you can continue to be a part of negotiating what we can do to resolve issues that we're So saying that, we're going to thank you very much for being here.
Well, I appreciate that.
And we appreciate you.
and that's why it's got to be. It has to be an honest conversation, right? There's going to be failures. There's going to be some tremendous successes. But I can tell you, and I'm going to try not to get emotional, is it rips our heart out that veterans are on the sidewalk. And it's horrible. So we have to find an end. Positive end. Because there is one. There is a positive end for every single one here. Positive, not negative. Because it's heartbreaking. And if you look at what's going on around the world today, especially right now overseas in the Middle East, that made me, I didn't sleep last night. I'm like, we have to help them. So how do we get there? Okay, that's what today's about, right? Because each person has their own needs. And that's where the host team, all right, I'm going to stop, is we triage, we get to know each one of you. Because his situation is different than yours, and her situation, right? So how can we help you if we don't even take the time to ask? And so we do have conversations, and we recognize that sometimes you're going to say, I don't want to talk right now. Oh, we'll see you tomorrow. But we're not leaving. We're not leaving you. This team, they're dedicated to, we're not leaving here until that sidewalk is clean the right way and you got help.
Lieutenant Deedrick, host team. We represent the ladies and gentlemen that are out here that have no voice. And when we talk about, when I hear you talk about who you interact with, we want to tell you that these are the main stakeholders of this land, as it was deeded in 1888. This was deeded as a home, not a healthcare center, but as a home first. And that's why it's wrenching our hearts to see folks out there like it wrenches your heart, because they shouldn't be out there. I have a couple of notes that I heard you say. Community care taking function. That's like a breath of fresh air to us, because the administrators that usually sit out here and take notes on an envelope uncaringly and disingenuously, they don't say those words. You say honest, we say genuine. You say you want to help them, we say we're here to work with you and help you help them. We represent a network of support for the row, and our network of support has volunteered to this administration. We will come in with the row, bring these folks inside the fence line. This is just a knee-jerk reaction to what started out here. And they're putting them up in tents while you have hard-top buildings over here that are occupied by non-veteran special interests. There's something very, very wrong with that picture. So we want you to hear about it. We want you to hear about it from the volunteers and caregivers that are working with these folks. Another thing is, we recognize the importance in the word assessment and the formation of this team. We all took a code. Took the code when we went in the service. You repeated that code when you donned that uniform. They even took a code, but they're not keeping their code. Because if they were, this encampment would not be out here. Another thing that we want to share with you is that this is not Venice. This is not a Venice encampment.
Oh, we agree.
This is the unofficial welcome center that this place should be having for every veteran across the nation. This is a national home. This is not a LA County issue. This is not a California state issue. It's certainly not a Brentwood issue. This is a main stakeholder issue, and they're being denied access to this land. They're being given excuses like they want to live out there. They don't want to follow the rules, or whatever other BS reason that you've been given. The fact of the matter is that these are men and women that have served our country. 90% of these people out here are eligible, healthcare eligible. That means they could be inside the fence line. But it's the harmful land use policy that's being implemented here that's keeping them out here. And that is being influenced by a much larger plan, like the 2028 Olympics. Okay? Will the host get that deep? Will you drill down
Yes.
that deep into it?
Yes.
God bless you for doing that, and we're here to help you and give you every bit of detail that we know of. And we sometimes hope that we're wrong,
Right.
but
And,
we're not wrong.
and to that point, we will listen. We will tackle any obstacle. That's why I said there'll be failures. There's some things that we won't be able to fix, and we recognize that. That's why there's no BS here. Is we'll find if there's something that we find we can't overcome that. First thing we do is talk to all of you. We can't overcome this. So what's plan B? There's some things that will be out of our hands, right? But I think our engagement in doing it together and working with everybody, then maybe we can overcome some of those challenges that haven't been able to now. But there's no false promises either. There may be some things that we can't, but we'll figure out another path.
But Lieutenant, you hit the nail on the head. You're giving the volunteers and coordinators and residents here the words that say this is the first time we're going to be able to work with a government enforcement agency to try and get things done correctly. We haven't been given that yet. We have to thank the sheriff for it, for initiating the audience. I have to tell you, it wasn't great seeing him on that Zoom meeting where we weren't even allowed to speak, where he made the commitment to clear out the street. But he was making that commitment and giving that audience to another group that thinks it has more power than patriotic Americans. We're here to save this land for what it was intentionally and permanently intended to be used for, and that's shelter first. So when there are plans to expand upon this healthcare center and repurpose this land takes away from the original land use intention, there's something very wrong with that, because that was a promise that's cast, and it's still an authority. The National Home for Disabled Veterans is still an authority, and these are the disabled veterans. I am at your disposal. We are at your disposal to work with you.
Thank you.
And we look forward to it.
And
Thank
just
you.
on that note, the sheriff was well informed about our involvement here since 2017. A couple weeks prior to that meeting, we had already been talking about the encampment, and so that's why I didn't see the whole thing, but I believe when he spoke, he said that we would do the assessment. We had made that decision already based on the sheriff's knowledge of our history and being veterans here. And so I think, like I said, without hearing the whole thing, I think he discussed the assessment, but we had made the decision about a week or two before that.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I agree with Francisco 100% exactly what he said. I think that I'm glad that Sheriff Alex is doing this, and I think if you look at it from a constitutional standpoint, the sheriff is one of the highest officers based on the California Constitution and also on the United States Constitution, that he has the power to be able to take on a lot of different tasks when it comes to the public safety and health. In this particular case, like Francisco said, we need to look at the machinacea of the operation as to how the VA is handling the homeless situation. From point one all the way to the top, where the veteran is rehabilitated and placed in a home, and also under the supervision of a medical doctor, psychologist, whatever. Right now, the way things are going, it's a mess. It's a fiasco. And that is a reflection of what you see out there. They're not being properly serviced, period, in the store. And I think that once you start looking into that operation, hopefully that will disappear, and also hopefully disappear in year 2. And this is not just in LA, it's nationwide.
Sure.
And after what has happened in the Middle East, like you mentioned, a lot of our guys are just bummed up, like I am. It's like, you spent $1.5 trillion in 20 years. What the hell did we get? Nothing. The Chinese have already moved in. That's all I gotta say. But the nuts and bolts is how the VA, the mechanism of the treatment, the policies, how many patients are given to each of those counselors that the VA is doing. All of that, the entire system needs to be reviewed. I am on the Veteran Patient Advisory Council. All of a sudden now, because we are meeting because of the COVID, the things have come up. It is very hard to get any type of data or any type of information from the VA. They keep everything secret.
Well,
and I think that needs to be disclosed.
On that note,
yeah,
I will give each and every one of you the results of our assessment.
I will.
We will not publish anything that's personal or private, but geographic, demographics, all those things, everything we do is transparent. So when we do our assessment, we'll be able to say male, female, age, this, that. There's a lot of demographic information I can give you. Obviously, as someone is experiencing mental illness or substance abuse, we don't release medical kind of things. But I'll give you everything that we do. Like, we're not holding this in a room behind closed doors, right? We want it to be out in the open. Everything we do is going to be this way. We're going to stumble, right? And we're going to be able to listen to people.
And we will help you on that.
But we're not going to leave. And could I get your name? What's your first name?
Oh, Salvatore Grammatic.
Hey, Sal. Nice to meet you. But with everything that we do, and we'll find out too. I'm not an expert in the vet system, in the VA system, I apologize. We're learning. They have a lot more experience, but the host team's been engaged, so we'll work on that. But everything we do will be out in the open. We don't hide. We're going to be out on the sidewalk.
So,
What's good?
my name's Alfred. Alfred?
Nice to meet you, Alfred.
It's a pleasure meeting you guys. I want to thank everybody for being here. It is very important for our veterans as well as our homeless veterans to see we can find a solution. It is way long overdue. In saying that, I got a draft master plan update. It's from the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, Office of Asset Enterprise Management. And what I'm going to say here in a matter of minutes is something that I feel is of value to why you're here and what you need to hear. Not only that, the issues that are going on in this land. And I'm going to read it. In 2011, the UCLA of Southern California filed a class action lawsuit against the VA on behalf of homeless veterans with disabilities. The suit alleged that VA misused the campus and discriminated against disabled veterans by failing to maintain housing for veterans on the campus and by leasing portions of the property to private companies. VA and the plaintiff partners settled the lawsuit in 2014. The settlement requires VA to solicit input from prudent stakeholders to draft and implement a plan to set out the most effective purpose of the campus for veterans, particularly for homeless veterans, including underserved populations such as female veterans, aging veterans, and those who are severely or mentally disabled. VA and the plaintiff partners collaborated to produce a draft master plan which was adopted in 2016. And in saying that, we got over 10 years of chaos, not including, in our opinion, decades of misappropriation of this land. We have not got anybody. In 1970, over 5,000 veterans were thriving, homeless veterans were thriving on this land. And after 1970, we're a rough idea about 500 veterans living on this land. There is something wrong with this picture, and it's been decades since we've seen some improvements. So in saying that, I didn't write this. This is written by the draft master plan. So don't get mad at me because I read something that is important about what's going on in this land. Okay, so
we'll never get mad at an honest discussion.
I'm just saying, because some people get mad.
An honest discussion has to include all voices.
But again, thank you, and I just threw that out. Take it from me. I'm not scared anymore. But what I'm going to say here is, this is how far back we've been dealing with the issues on this land. And we can't stop because our veterans of all people deserve to be treated with dignity and respect.
We agree.
They paid the ultimate price, their life. My brothers forever, fallen but not forgotten. We will never forget the cost of freedom. And I'm surprised Robert McKendrick isn't here because he is the head guy that should be here to listen to these very important town hall meetings. This is something that needs to be addressed and we need to stop finding excuses.
On that note, and that may be my fault, He's been amazing.
Yeah, no, that's
We
good.
made the decision real fast.
Yeah.
So literally, we all changed our whole schedules to be here today because when we came the other day, we came in and he was gracious enough to show us around. We've been here before, but we wanted to see post-COVID. And then we said, let's schedule the meeting with you, and we're talking with Rob, and I said, let's do it now. Why wait? There's no reason to wait. So we may have messed up someone else's schedule that might have been here, just to be honest. So we said, let's do it on Tuesday. Because originally, we were going to do it next week. Why are we waiting another day? That was kind of our point. And when we spoke with Rob, he's like, yeah, you know what, we need to do it right now.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
I just wanted to say that I think you guys are going to see why I wanted to have this meeting, you know, have you guys come to this meeting to talk to the veterans. As you go through this and you see what's going on out here, you're going to see new veterans constantly showing up that aren't getting the services they're required. They go in to get help from Building 402, all these other services in here, and told to come back the next day. They end up in tents. Then every time we get them out there or we get someone into a program, they're kicking them back out of the program. I mean, the way these things are run is archaic. They treat people like children. There's a lot of issues going on here it's problematic. And unless those problems are fixed, you could clear the encampment and everybody's going to be back the next day. That's just the fact and the reality of the situation. There needs to be immediate same-day sheltering. None of this come back tomorrow, we can't help you today, you're not
Well,
registered. Those are the problems that are going on
To
here.
that point, we normally do that. So if you say, yes, like someone, as an example, I'll use myself. Someone that has, let's say you have a substance abuse issue. I need help. You get in the car right now and we go. We don't make appointments. Now, obviously, we're on the VA's campus. There's other things. So we'll look through that. We were talking the other day about a triage center. Boom, boom, boom. And getting whatever the needs are. So we'll work with them. We'll work with our outside partners too. And so that'll take a moment, right? And with your involvement, maybe we can find some ways to streamline things. So the answer is there's always a yes. It's just how do you get there? Now, can we overrule a federal policy or law? No. But can we maybe affect some change or have someone inside say, well, maybe we can do this. But that's what I'm saying. There's no false promises that we can undo something, but maybe create another avenue. Or, hey, there's always multiple lanes. They're parallel. Maybe we can't be in this lane. Maybe we can go in this lane. But I want to make sure that you understand we can't fix everything. But I think we can fix enough with your help to end this positively with a lot of success. Okay, I agree.
You gotta be talking to everybody.
Everybody.
You gotta be hearing every single guy out there on the sidewalk that has been through this.
Just know I
booked
booked this till 8 o'clock tonight. I know Matt's like, what are you saying? We have nothing else. We cleared our calendar. We don't have to go to a meeting at 10. We should have told him that, but the bottom line is we're not in a hurry because we can't, and you'll be next. We can't be I know. But what I'm saying is, you know how that is. You schedule a meeting and someone's looking at their watch, they gotta go. We have nowhere to go but here with you.
I just wanted to finish real quick on this.
Okay.
It says right here on the EU project versus federal construction, it says agreement type out lease for private use, service connection, owner of land, VA. The VA is not the owner. This land is deeded to our veterans, for the disabled, homeless veteran soldiers.
Right.
In 1888, it's not VA land. We need to get this resolved. This is not their land. This is our veterans' land, and we need to make sure that they understand that when they put these names, they put everybody but veterans' name on this land. We need to get that corrected.
Could I have a copy of that when you go?
I got 3 copies, and I'm going to give it to you guys.
Because that stuff I don't know, and so I readily tell you I don't know. But let's make sure we get to the others.
I'm going to give it. All right, I'm done.
Yeah. What's your name?
Devin.
Devin, I'm Jeff.
My question is, you know what? Why are we judging people for what they make? Why don't we try to help out everybody? Not
We
just
are.
one person. No. I've been turned down 3 times already for bash.
Oh, hold on. You mean? Oh, okay. Hold on.
I'm just saying.
Make sure I understand
saying.
you. So the system that you're dealing with, I thought you
You know
meant
what? I've
us.
been
I'm
turned
like,
down.
we're here
You know
for
what?
all
I
of you.
struggle every day, just like everybody else, man.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I need help. I ask for help, I get turned down. Just like Robert did. That's what happens over here. You know, you guys are judging people by what they make. It should be judged like that. It should be by the person who he is. I struggle every day with addiction.
So the current people that are talking to you, it's based on your income?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we'll
It's
address-
income based.
Yeah.
I have been my children and I have been turned away. We were homeless over a year, living in shelter housing and you know
I'm
all that.
I've
Turned away by
farmers
HUD
before.
several times
So
because of
that's
income.
what
Yes.
I hear you, Devin.
Yeah, me and my children were homeless because of
We'll
that.
listen to you.
Sorry.
So
sorry,
I heard
sorry.
what Devin said, and one of the things that he's talking about, we know there's ways of overcoming that. We have resources in addition to this and all of the things here.
You know what,
We've had
sometimes-
people throughout this whole state offering things right now, and so there's going to be different avenues that we might be able to address.
Who goes to war and fight for freedom of this country? We do. We put our lives on the line. And for what? To get kicked to the curb?
Not any
Bullshit.
longer.
And this person knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I've been kicked to the curb 3 times already. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. I don't want to be homeless. I want my own place. But I can't move in because I don't have all the money. Because I struggle with addiction.
No one's gonna be able to give
You don't judge me. Judge me then.
I hear you. So, ma'am, you were saying something.
Yes.
Hey, Devin, could you stay though? Because I'd like to talk to you when we're done. You might be surprised.
I absolutely agree because
No, that'll be a personal
income
conversation.
based, the VA, the HUD batch. Me personally, my children were turned away 3 times. Probably. So I did it myself. I mean, however I need to do it, and so that's the reality. Is you go in here, get services, you get turned away if you make so much income. That's
So based
and
on
it's corrupt. It's misappropriation of funds. It's not because you served honorably or even just whatever. If you served, you should get help regardless of your discharge. Just being used like, hey, you're an honorable or whatever to keep others out, or you make too much, or we have to. Oh, they did offer to separate me and my children to get help. They offered to put my children in a separate facility, a separate
How many
program.
children do you have?
I have 2. But now like that's my experience. It's like, so you want to separate me and my children, and that was offered, and that's not right. That's so yeah. So and it's income based. Yes, I was turned away by HUD Bash 3 times, 2 different VAs, this VA and Long Beach VA.
Can you make sure not to leave today before you talk to me?
Absolutely, yeah.
You have 2. How old are the kids?
Oh, they're taken care of now. I'm here now to help advocate for my brothers and sisters.
Oh,
that
so
are
you
still
don't
going
need a
through,
place
like,
right now?
No,
Oh.
No, I'm good
I
now.
had
I'm saying my
I had a place. I already had. I'm already putting you. I already have a place for you.
No, but my reality is that I'm
Okay.
taking care of my brothers and sisters aren't, and
Okay.
it's income and having children, and it's not a.
I hear you.
This is the reality of the
This is
whole
the reality.
thing.
Yeah. So this
I
like
hear
we
you.
were.
Sir?
Yeah, I was just turned down day before yesterday because of my income. And even though my wife takes alimony of $1,200 a month, they don't care. They consider your gross, not what you're getting. And that's wrong.
So help me. Can we do it without an hour? Like for this conversation. So if you make a certain amount of money, you don't qualify for a certain benefit.
Yes.
And we'll find out what that system is.
And it's gross. It's not what I put in my pocket every month. It's how much is on paper
So
that I
that's-
gross. And they're not considering the deductions.
So that's
My
been a
wife
barrier
brought
then for you to get
$1,200
help.
alimony out of it.
Yes,
I think there's
absolutely.
something that we can talk about there, and we'll find out what the hard policies are. But there's always room for something with that. And there's other resources too that we might be able to bring to the table, that will eliminate that in the short term if there's something that can be worked on here. So we'll talk about that.
That's where the nonprofits, are there, and it's the funding issue. It's also being told that we don't have funding available, or you have to go to this county, or you have to move, you have to relocate.
How many people were here today, Rob? I mean, in total. Where'd Rob go?
In total from the sidewalk?
Yeah.
I didn't count.
We're around 47. Is that pretty close?
How many people are on
Yes.
the sidewalk? Yeah, around there. In the high 40s? Yeah. We got like 48. 48.
What, sir? Oh, well, we're gonna trust me. You're gonna know them. You will know them very well. So that's one of the things. We don't just come here and stand here and then not be back. You're gonna see us a lot. Remember, we said we're not gonna stop until it's gone, until you're healthy. This isn't intense in a sense that it's time to change.
I think something that you're going to see as this goes on, like I'm saying, you're going to witness yourself people get placed and then come right back out the door. There's a huge problem at this VA with recycling of veterans. I mean, it's really absurd what goes on.
And I hear Rob very loudly because all throughout the state, but mainly LA County for us, we do find it's sad that people get placed and then they're back out. We get that. And so recognizing that, we don't see that as an overt failure. What we see is there's another door to be opened.
Sometimes that's the only family they have. That's the only family we got.
So that's part of the community thing, right? Where it's important to have that community around you. Because somebody came to the table the other day saying, I have a building. Each place is like studio apartments. I could bring an entire group together. Would they do it? So meaning individual rooms per each person. It's like a studio. But we could bring a number of people there. We will have case management on site. If I open that up to you, will they take it?
I will.
So there's a discussion, right? Now we need to say, okay, what are the details? What's the fine print? And so there's a lot of people with some big hearts that want to impact this community in a very positive way. And the sheriff's leadership, by dedicating the host team to this, opened those doors. Because those doors weren't open to me in 2017. They weren't open to me in 2018. They're open today. And so all of the systems, there's going to be shortcomings in every system. There's probably a shortcoming you can identify with the host team. Hey, Deedrick, you blew it. You should have figured this out. That we'll learn, right? Me and you have learned, huh, man? But the bottom line is, if it's an honest mistake, it's fixable. If we come from a bad place, forget it. Why even start? So that's why we have the people here. You know, I wasn't a veteran. I truly admire the work that our vets do. You're our heroes, not me. And it's a big deal. So I can't let this rips me to pieces. And so that's why. Understanding we're going to trip. And to his point, there's some opportunities now that probably were never given here or weren't explained properly, and some things that even the VA has done. And so as we get through this process, our assessment will probably take 2 weeks. Because our guys will be talking to you. Some days you're going to tell them things, other days you're going to say, I'm not in the mood. But at the end of the day, you're going to go, that's a pretty special dude right there. It's a pretty special lady. Because that's why these are hand-picked people. Okay? And I have 14 deputies that'll be here.
Well, thank you guys for your service.
Thank you. Oh, wait, hold on. You've been with. Go ahead, ma'am. What's your name?
My name's Melissa Tumim. Melissa Tumim.
Are you a veteran?
I am not.
Okay.
But I am here because I'm running for Congress in this district because I want to help these people. I want to help them get back into these buildings. And what I want to know is, how is the Sheriff's Department empowered to get UCLA out of buildings that could be perfectly habitable for these veterans that are illegally being occupied by UCLA? Can you help get this property back in the hands of the veterans?
Well, we'll look at every scenario. Some of the things you're talking about, I'm not familiar with the finer details of it, but we'll look at everything.
This property this property is the veterans. That's what those guys left it for. He left it for us.
Yes.
Not other organizations. This is our property.
But we'll look at everything.
This is not
Some things.
UCLA's land.
Yeah.
This is the veterans' land, and every building here was erected to serve the veterans and to provide housing. And UCLA has laboratories. They kick the veterans out year after year for whatever purpose.
You know, at the college UCLA?
Yeah. Talking about the University of Southern California at Los Angeles.
Why won't they utilize our talents as builders, equipment operators, electricians? Instead of hiring outside help and spending all that government money, we could do it for free. We're the veterans. We know how to do that. We can build buildings.
Sure you can.
We can wire them, plumb them. Why are they spending all that money and all that red tape? Why are those barriers sitting there when they should be out here on the turn protecting lives? Already 3 cars have jumped and nearly killed Doc.
No.
I was smashed. I have a fractured back and elbow now. And the driver's insurance company is not assuming liability. I have a vehicle that's collecting $165 a day storage over the body shop because farmers won't accept liability. Even though they admit that their driver gave this person permission, he jumped out of the car drunk, remember, and ran away. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm paying storage, and I can't afford it.
We'll talk.
My vehicle will be owned by them by the 1st when I get paid.
We'll talk after. Don't leave without talking to us.
He brings up another really important subject. There are corrupt developers who
But ma'am, I'm here to hear them. Like the development, me and you can talk offline about that part. I want to hear from the veterans who are on the sidewalk.
Got it.
But I'll be glad to sit with you on that.
Yes.
Only because this is for them. And I don't want to take time in case they do get moved out. Okay? But I will speak with you after. Yes, sir.
Who was asking for an army guy?
Oh, here we go. So, all right. We got two of them.
He brought backup.
All right.
So real quick, these guys are the LASA members that are embedded with our teams. So
Come around the table.
Dan and Dale are Army veterans, retired. Retired what?
Army. 7.
And Dan?
Dale Wilson. I was did my 3.5 years in the Army. I came through the Welcome Center here. I got housed through you guys. So I want to thank all you people for helping me. You know, the only time I feel good about myself is when I'm giving a little back. You know, I appreciate the opportunity.
Now, did you ever think?
No.
Hold on. Did you ever think you'd be working with the cops?
Never, ever in a million years. I got 2 strikes. I've been locked up for 10 years. You know what I mean? I had an opportunity to change my life a little bit.
Now, tell them, because this is the game changer. You've never had this before. He's my brother. You agree? Right?
I'm still waiting for the invite for the barbecue.
You're getting but it's different, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So one of the reasons for us to be here, and granted, trust is earned, not just granted, is letting them see the difference in our model. That it's one legit and it's significant. Tell them what it is like to work with us. What's different from what you experienced in the past?
I have no good experiences with the sheriff.
Hey, can I ask what you guys are going to do, not you, but whoever's in charge, about sanitation?
Well, we'll get there.
Sheriff Brennan paid $10,000
We'll get there.
for their toilet. I think she should be reimbursed.
Well, we'll get there. Let's let him finish, and then I want to hear from the rest of you. Just real quick, just a minute or so.
I don't know. When I was homeless and addicted to drugs, the drugs and the alcohol were the only thing that gave me any comfort. You know what I mean? You know, let me feel a little security because I'm afraid to go to sleep at night. Somebody's going to steal my stuff. You know, when I had contact with the sheriffs, it was never good. I was always doing time. Now I got to see the human side of these guys. And these guys aren't out here cutting tents, kicking people's butts, and they're just not doing that. I see them coming out of pocket for motel rooms for families. You know, I see that side of it. That's enough out of me.
You're gonna cry. I love it.
Thank you. It's the truth.
Thank you.
Talk Dale Walter, there's a comment.
Basically, as far as working with the sheriffs go, I mean, I have family in law enforcement, etc., so I've always kind of had respect for them. But what you normally see from the host deputies, a lot of your patrol deputies don't have what they have. And because if the patrol deputies show up, they got a call from service, which means somebody called, made a complaint, and they're attempting to resolve the complaint. So if they're outside of the 7-Eleven or whatever it is, they're just going to ask them to leave. There's no, they're not looking to assist them any further. Call for service said, person annoying other people, they got him to leave, end of thing, he's on to the next one. The host deputies are genuinely vested in helping people experiencing homelessness, and I have found that to be true since day one.
There we go already.
He was in Belfast. He
Yeah.
So the bottom line, but it's different. But let's get back to you. I think there was another. This gentleman had a question or a comment.
I have a couple things because I talked to a lot of the guys out there. His name is Billy.
Hey, Billy?
Billy.
Hey, Billy.
Navy vet. I just came back to California a little over a year ago, right when COVID started, unfortunately. I talked to a lot of the guys up and down the road, get them to talk to me about stuff. My old lady does the same thing. So I have a few things to bring up. I ain't gonna go into all the VA policy bullshit because at the end of the day, you're not gonna be able to change what the Fed says. We know that. It's just strictly on what you guys do, what LAPD does, what the city does. One is the law enforcement's supposed to enforce laws and everything else. We were putting cones up on the road for a long time, trying to push the traffic up off of the street because the people out there would be driving way too damn fast. That's how Scott's van got hit, was a drunk idiot driving too fast and drunk on top of that. If you go out there, excuse me, if you go out there in civilian clothes and just stand there and watch, you'll see is they'll drive extremely fast and get right next to you.
Sure. I almost got hit the other day.
Yeah, they don't give a shit. We would do that. We'd put the cones up. I had one of, I was going to say your deputies, but the sheriff didn't want to respect this meeting enough to show up himself. So one of your fellow deputies.
Wait, say that again?
To me, the sheriff, the actual sheriff, he's not here, correct?
I didn't tell him.
We
I didn't tell him.
We didn't want the circus. With that one, he should have known. No,
Pardon?
With the vet
No, sir. We've done this. We've done a lot of these things.
With the VA?
If I bring, yes, like I said, I've been here since 2017. I didn't want to bring the sheriff here today because we wanted to hear from you in this forum. If you would like me to bring the sheriff to a meeting with you, I will be glad to tell him.
If they come to one of these VA ones like this at the VA, not specifically with me. I don't mean like that, but I mean with
we can do the same thing with this group.
Because, like, you can, like, all due respect to you, you can say what you want to say, and at the end of the day, he can change your plan.
Well, just make sure you understand. Make sure you're very clear. The sheriff has directed me to do what we do,
yes.
And we are not asking for approval from him because he's already blessed it. There is no one that I'm asking permission to do anything. Jeff Deedrick, the lieutenant, I'm in charge of this operation solely, fully, and I need no other authorization because he's already given it. Just so you know.
No, I know.
That's a big deal.
I know how all that works.
But he's already
Being in
said,
the military myself,
handle it.
I know how all the positional authorities and all that crap works.
Well, this is unique.
But anyways, out here, I asked, I can't remember the deputy's name that came up because he was talking about moving the cones off the road. I said, all right. I said, well, can we use them as barriers at least for the vehicles that are there, because you are allowed to use like the traffic triangles and shit when your vehicle breaks down or anything else. And since there's supposed to be a bicycle lane there in the spacing anyway, the car doesn't need almost a 20-foot wide lane on the right side.
Right.
And the sheriff deputy, said, yeah, go ahead. You can use it as a safety triangle, but that's it.
Someone else told
that legally makes sense. A couple days later, another sheriff's deputy, and says, no, you can't do that. And wait a minute, you're from the same damn department. One's telling me yes, the other one's telling me no. Legally, I know I can, but now I'm getting threatened over it. And then another sheriff's deputy showed up and said that he was told, the same one that showed up on the day that we had to get Scott's van off the road because it needed to be moved, and I understand that. But on that same day, that same guy said that he was told directly by the sheriff that the cones, any of them that were out for any reason, to take them.
I would say that's suspect.
Aspects on us. Now, mind you, since whoever it was that painted the lines came in and painted the lines the other day, it's a little bit better.
But I would
cars
say
are still flying up and down the road. We've raised the concern to LAPD and the sheriff's department. Hey, we wouldn't be looking at you guys going and all that shit out there.
That's
If you're
okay.
out there and
But Billy, what I hear you making though is the argument against having an encampment on the sidewalk.
No, I'm talking.
And I'm being honest with you.
You're talking about safety though too.
Yeah, so we shouldn't have it.
Radar gun on a camera.
You know what I'm saying? It's too dang dangerous. But
we
get judged by tattoos. We get judged by.
No, but I'm with you. I mean, but what I'm saying is that's an argument not to have. The sidewalk isn't meant for human living. That's why we got to address it.
You're correct.
You know, that's what worries me.
I've been out here a little over 2 months. Just a little over 2 months. I have not seen, and mind you, the speeding is ridiculous on that road.
Right.
I have not seen one person on this straightaway between Wilshire and this curve. Not one time have I seen a single person pulled over for speeding. Not.
Well, so if you're asking
Not by
me
LA
to
sheriffs, not by
consult with the
LAPD.
traffic, we'll do that too.
I'm
But
saying-
I do believe the end goal is it should be on the sidewalk.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's an enforcement problem. People show up to tell us not to put a cone on the street. Literally, that's what the dude showed up for. Was the cones. That's
But I
what
think
he
the
showed
whole
up for.
thing-
He can show up for the cones from complaints from
But we're
citizens,
talking-
but he can't show. Nobody can show up for the speed.
I hear you. And I think it just makes the case more that there shouldn't be a homeless encampment on the sidewalk for our vets, which is the reason we're here. So,
To me, it shows
but there's
priorities from the department. Not maybe you.
I saw the
individually.
video that night of the car, and
There's been more
I was
than
like,
this, though.
we're lucky. We're lucky we haven't lost more of you. We have to stop that. Now, as we get there, if you're asking me to have traffic enforcement, Lieutenant Nagelman standing right behind you who works this area, so we'll ask him, hey, can we have some motor officer do some traffic enforcement, especially while your outreach workers are out here working to help you and you're out in that area. We may have to shut down a lane. I don't know yet, but I'm not going to get hit by a car. I don't want you to get hit by a car, and I don't want to see a car coming through the fence. And so it all makes sense. And I hear you. In a big agency, as you know, the whole cone thing, I see how it could happen. But I'm telling you, the sheriff never told anyone to move a cone.
Yeah, that's what the deputy said.
Yeah.
Sir, my name is Ron Estrada. Work for Estrada. I go by Corporal. I'm not here to make problems, just solutions. I know we were doing cleanups every 2 weeks. Once every 2 weeks, we're doing a cleanup.
Back when, right?
Back, yeah.
Pre-COVID?
8 years. I've been here 8 years. Before COVID, we do cleanups every 2 weeks. Get all your stuff off the sidewalk, move it aside, whoever stays behind, go to the garbage.
It's like spot cleanup.
That's
So-
what we're doing it twice a week. I mean, twice a month. We're doing it. I know we started doing it another cleanup, we just did it one. Okay.
Right.
Is that going to be something we're going to be doing again?
Well, yeah, but
At least once a month.
and looking at the end result is that no one's on the
Exactly.
sidewalk.
And that's
And
good.
doing it
Clever.
and
It's
doing
clever,
it
clever.
this way before we're mandated to do it another way, right?
Exactly.
And that's why I think it's important. We can, as we go, we take those steps. We work with Rob. Like I heard someone talking about the porta potties and talking about sanitation. As we get there, there's probably improvements we can make. We can probably make those pretty quick. So we will look into that and address that. The other part will be, I've always said it has to be two people in a relationship, right? And so everyone here is going to have to contribute to positivity too. I know Rob's, that guy's worked his butt off, right? And so everybody, you know, yeah, everybody has to do something because it can't just be one-sided. Now, I also think that we owe a huge debt of gratitude to our vets. So, see what I'm saying? But we can make it.
Our speed thing, it is a big issue.
What do we?
But I think
So,
if we put a sign, one of those little the police sign says their speed is,
Yeah.
and in March tracks their speed, that will
But what do
be
we-
conscious work and be like, oh, I gotta slow down.
I just think we all have to remember the end game is that is not humane. That is not humane, and we have to make a humane situation. Okay?
And I think that I agree that it's not humane. No veteran should be out on the sidewalk or anything like that.
Thank you.
But also at the same time, what's happening here is not humane. The way these guys are being treated, the way they're being pushed out, the way they're being told to come back, the lack of consistent same-day services. This has been a VA or a soldier's home for 133 years. There's been veterans from every conflict since the Civil War that have been here, and they're going to continue to come here. So if things aren't corrected inside to where these guys are actually getting the help that they need, we're going to continue to have this problem on the sidewalk. And I know for myself and everyone else we work with, they're going to be there to support veterans. So that's why it's really important that the VA kind of gets some stuff together and fixes these situations so we don't constantly have, every time we get 2 people inside, 4 more show up. You know, that's the problem.
and I can tell you without any hesitation, there will be a moment where it will not have anyone on the sidewalk. So anyone that shows up will not be on the sidewalk. Once we get to that, because I don't want to be the guy responsible one night when I hear that a car flew through here at 80 miles an hour and wiped out 10/10 when I know we could have done something to affect that. So that day will come, and so I think those other discussions, there's going to be so many discussions and so many lanes on this project. There's going to be the discussion with the VA, with policymakers, There's a discussion with outreach providers, right? A discussion with housing navigators, case managers. The good part about ours thing is we can have all those discussions at once. The old saying is that I can walk and chew gum at the same time. This team is the best of the best. And we can have those. Recognizing that we can't overcome some, but we can be successful within the framework, and then maybe sometimes change can affect policy. So done the right way, maybe if there is a policy that we need to change or have someone look at, maybe a success would allow someone to look at this and also say they did it together. You got the cops, the vets.
It's got to stop right here. Stop right there. You got to look at us for who we are, not what we are, what we got. That's what's got to happen here. I get tired of getting kicked to the curb.
Well, you're not going to get kicked to the curb no more, Devin. Do we have any other questions? Go ahead.
One of the things that President Trump signed into an act or a bill that he passed was the Disneyland Act. It never broke ground on buildings, or tearing buildings down, or modeling buildings. Why is that?
Is that still in effect?
It's still in effect, but all they do is remodel or
well, look, that'll be a policy thing that
getting put in place. There's no construction going on. We're just putting down. Windows are open. They're getting mildew. They're deteriorating, and nothing is getting built up.
So to that point,
you can't go inside. You have to stay outside. You can't have anywhere to go inside. Instead of going to a tent, but I have a tent inside, or I can be outside. I'd rather be outside than inside.
Now hold on. Tell me what you just said. I'd rather be on a tent outside than inside. Help me with that.
Well, there's a difference.
What's the difference?
You're more secluded.
You're what?
You're secluded. You got
where?
6 security guards that are walking around, patrolling the tents.
So if you're inside, you're secluded?
Yeah.
All right, help me with that, because that'll help me understand.
There's kind of issues with the way the security guards are treating. I mean, a lot of these guys are just hired right into security. I think we spoke about this the other day, just the way that they approach veterans. You know, you have a combat veteran and you have some guy that's essentially a rent-a-cop that's coming up to them and trying to express authority on them. Sure. And as you can imagine, that causes friction right away. So that's a lot of problems there. So I think there does need to be some training or something with these.
I'll offer the VA, and I'll work with them. We will offer the LA County Sheriff Crisis Intervention Training and the First Responder Homeless Training to them at free of charge. Because the guy that runs is standing right behind you, and the other one's right here. But I hear you. But let's get back to that. Because to me, we all know we're going to get to a day where there's no one on the sidewalk. Okay. But I just heard you tell me on the sidewalk is better than being inside. I get the security thing because nobody wants to get jammed up all the time. But what's another reason?
Inside, you can move you around. Different tents. Outside, you have a little walls here.
Wait, could move you around or they do?
They tell you when to go to bed, tell you when to eat.
Oh, you mean freedom of movement? Like you could move around. Can you come and go as you want?
Not inside.
What's the rule on that?
I don't know what the new rule is.
Some 10, some 10:30.
You can come and go as you want in CTRS. Security does access control. So when you come in, they're going to check your person and your property just to ensure there's no contraband.
Civility.
But there is no curfew. They can come and go if they want, but there is access control from security.
So I hear her and I hear you. So there's something we may be able to work on. Because if you don't have safety and security, if you don't have civility and chaos, you've got what? A mess. So maybe there's something, that should be our first order of business, is to sit down because Rob will know and say, look, here's the issues. We may be able to get to that one pretty quick.
And I think what, I don't know, I know some of these guys were in CTRS, but a lot of times we have guys from CTRS that come outside to have like barbecues or services with us. Because like 90% of the donations we get out there are people that attempted to donate or do something nice for veterans on the property, and then volunteer services turns them away, and then they come out to us.
So I hear you. We will find out what the rules are for that. There is another, was it American Legion? American Legion, who's called me last night that's willing to set up a thing to do exactly what he's saying to ensure that 100% goes to you guys.
Sure.
So we'll deal with that.
One thing we do know is that at the end of the day, they want us on the sidewalk because.
Well, you're going to have to be off the sidewalk.
The new metro station is going to be built.
No, hold on, time out. Everybody, I want to make this clear based on. I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. I know it's rude, but I don't mean to be rude. We are not here to the metro station. We're not here for any other reason than we have our nation's veterans on the sidewalk. Wait, let me finish. It's important. It's horrible. It's horrible. Is anybody getting better out there? No. So if somebody's getting better on the sidewalk, raise your hand. Because I'm going to hand you my wallet. No, it's human deterioration, my friend. It's horrible. It's ripping us in half. You are the pride of this country, and we have to fix it. So that's why we're here. I don't want to hear you crap about some
it's actually more than that, because this land was donated in 1888.
No, I heard that you gave a great history.
But this land was donated for veterans, services, homeless veterans, to allow those people that have issues to come here, be housed, and have medical services provided to them. This is West LA VA, only one in the nation. If this land gets sold or given away and we lose that act,
is that a part?
Yeah. That's the only reason I'm here.
Okay, see, I don't know that part. Like, so,
if we lose this land,
wait, they're gonna sell it?
If they use land, anyone that's a veteran,
they're stealing it.
All right, we'll get to that as a separate issue, because that.
It's not.
Anyone that's a veteran,
well, it is separate for the moment. It's a policy.
I can kind of put what he's saying about the train. The reason why he's bringing the train up. The VA was supposed to have delivered 484 units of housing in 2020. Okay, and you can read that in the 2018 federal audit, the OIG report, where he writes a scathing report about this VA. In 2017, over 100 veterans died while waiting to get services at this VA. And everybody sees here how no veteran housing is being built or they're dragging their feet on it, yet a Purple Line Metro train goes up overnight. Every time they want to do anything on this property unrelated to veterans, it goes up overnight while these guys sleep in tents.
So understand, I have no knowledge of a metro. That's what I'm trying to say. We're not here for any other purpose rather than you're on there. There's a gentleman behind you that had a question.
What kind of report do you guys have with veterans out here?
Report?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm founder of Gunny's Grill. I feed veterans, etc. 9 years ago, we had the biggest shower and everything for Christmas on Skid Row. All right, we had politicians want to get up there, and I said, no, this is for veterans.
Now see why I didn't bring.
And the thing of it is, as me working with the police department, Montebello, Whittier, Big Rivera, which I went there and I told them, what kind of report do you have with veterans on, you know, out in the street? They said, well, we don't. I said, because you intimidated, you scare the veterans, because you guys right away go for your weapon. I said, number one, that's a threat to a veteran. I said, what you guys could do, go to McDonald's, go to any fast food restaurant, and they will give you $200 worth of chips to give to a veteran and say, here you go, get something to eat. And they'll respect that officer, and they'll respect you guys.
What was your first name?
John.
John.
Gunny. United States Marine Corps.
Can I call you Gunny?
Yep.
So Gunny, we do that all the time. So
Okay.
the host team, we have a tremendous rapport with veterans.
Okay.
Mr. Sanchez over here, he happened to spend until 2 in the morning the other night with a veteran ensuring that he was okay.
Oh yeah.
We do those things, and I hear you loud and clear.
Yep.
That's why we're here.
Yep.
Rapport building, learning everybody here, because
get
it's not
their
the
trust.
same people. Yes, and like I said, it's not handed to you; it's earned.
Yep.
And so we are going to be back, and this is not over. This will never. The host team's engagement here will end when that sidewalk is clear.
Yeah.
We would rather do it this model, because I don't know what the courts may do, and it's irrelevant because my job is I'm thinking you're not here, you don't live here, right?
No, I know.
Is that someone that is here?
I had an operation on my foot, but I'm supposed to have it elevated, but I'm here. That's
Can you
a Marine.
elevate it right there so you don't get hurt?
You got
But
that
I hear
right.
you. But
Yep.
that is our model.
Yep.
Is knowing our veterans and respecting them and doing the things that we can to help build them up, and that's what we do. That's why the sheriff sent us. If he wanted to have a boom, smooth, prime impact team, that's different. We're the host team, and we are different, and that's why.
Which I appreciate you guys doing.
This is another part of what I wanted to say over there was when anybody comes out, I know you guys have communication with LAPD as well.
Oh,
when you guys come
I'll
out
touch
for
on
a
that.
call on our people, on the vets out here, I've watched repeatedly when we've had guys over there going, hey bro, I got you, trying to calm them down, and they get sent away. Now, I understand your guys' safety, security, all that. Here's the thing, at the end of the day, no disrespect to you, but this man's safety, his safety and security to me is more important than yours. I'm going to come over to talk to him to calm him down because I don't want him to hurt you. and then I don't want your guys to come over to hurt him. Okay? If we're out there trying to help, and I mean, if there's one being a hindrance and being an idiot, by all means. But if we're over there going, hey, bro, calm down, and we're not getting involved with your guys, we're just trying to talk to them to calm them down, let us. All due respect, almost everybody out there has mental health issues. We know each other.
We do it all the time. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I've watched a lot of times they get pushed away.
I had a vet, PTSD, flipping out, and there was another, he wasn't a vet, and he helped him out, and I let him go in there.
So I said some individually may do that, but trying to put it out as a whole, at least right here, I mean, because you can't say that just in general, but at least when there's responses here, if there's another guy there trying to calm him down, trying to help out, let us help police ourselves, because we can calm each other down. We know each other. We know our issues. We know our triggers. We know each other, so we have that respect.
We're with you on that. So just
if that can be put
out,
out,
LAPD, we are working in partnership with them.
And then, because I watched him block the whole road for a guy that he is big and scary, he can be. But I've walked right up to him when he's going off and got right up in his face and, hey, bro, you need to calm the fuck down, dude. And he goes, okay. You know, and that's because he has the respect for me. And I know at the same time, there's sometimes guys can join into that going off shit.
You gotta start wrapping it up in a couple of minutes.
What? I thought he said till night.
And then the sidewalks, if you can get, I know they do it all over the city. I know they do it all.
Sidewalk is a county property, and that's why.
So we have highway patrol, LAPD, sheriff, EAPD, and they all patrol the sidewalk.
Yeah, it's in all the jurisdictions.
They just get coalition or something that gets together.
That's why we're here, sir. Rob, that's why we're here. This is day one, the beginning. And I hope you're a part of it.
Let's talk about trespassing. If you're not a doctor, a patient, an employee, or visiting patient, you're not supposed to be on federal property. Now, I had a situation where there were 7 guys on bicycles, and one day I decided to enforce the law. So and the VA police came and said to security who works here, is he the problem or they? He said, no, he's a veteran, and he read them the law, which was up there, and that they came in anyway. And he made an announcement. There's no riding bikes on federal property. So that tells me you were doing that just for the moment, or is that the law? So every day, all day, 25 bicycles come through there, and every now and then when I have time, which ain't often, I will stand at that gate and I will enforce the law. And I say, are you a veteran? They say, no. I say, you need to find another way in because there's no other one else watching. So now, the other day, one came out and he pushed my bicycle, I'm gonna keep going, pushed my bike, pushed me, and he pushed my bike to the ground. And once he got clear, on his way down the street, he told me to go fuck myself. Now, I knew better than get on my bike and go find him and do what I do. So, what are we going to do about these trespassers? And that probably initiates to the VA police.
Well, that's probably the easiest thing you gave us. That's the easiest one. That's a layup.
They're not enforcing the law.
So we can work with them.
But I will do it. So this is my backyard.
I'd rather you enjoy the day and leave it to them.
And the next one that pushed me on his way out that gate, we're going to see what happens then.
That's the easiest thing
I'm not going to do that, man.
I wouldn't want to.
But now another veteran told me that he got a trespassing ticket, but the hundreds of people that go through on the bike, they don't get nothing.
We'll figure that one out. That's an easy one to help you with. Sure.
Mr. Jerry, I've traveled around all 50 states twice to check on my hospital crisis situation. You have other states that are doing it now. We are in a state of emergency. These vets and all the houses and people in Skid Row and all around California should be housed. And I'm willing to, I run a nonprofit where we help the veterans to come out here and, we give haircuts for Veterans Day and all that good stuff, hygiene and all that. But I want to know, what are your plans in order to help these gentlemen get back to normal life? What type of programs do you guys offer? I know
everything.
I know there's a lot of programs. I go through paths to get people off the streets and all this.
So we have connectivity to the entire homeless delivery system. So HAP, LAPS is embedded with us. Department of Mental Health. You name all the medical substance abuse treatment centers, we have connections. We have connections with type B type things. You name it, we have connections. So what we're going to do is our assessment, find out the individual needs, who needs what. After the triage, connectivity, and that's it. But we have access, and I'm not even talking about the 20 or so organizations that have reached out to me in the last 48 hours. It's immense. We've never had this many resources in the history of our host team. We have organizations, once we do our assessment, we may be able to place a significant amount of people pretty quick based on the professionalism, DMH, you name it. This is an all-inclusive everybody in. And we can talk offline about some of the organizations.
Like I said, some of these states that I've visited already have this situation somewhat under control, and now is the time that we need to try something new, because the stuff that is going on now that we're using is not working.
The host team's model and connectivity with all that works. And that's why we're here. Sure I am. Stay with me. I'm not going nowhere. I cleared my day. One more? Was it? Sure.
Hi, Gabriel. I have a question, because we have a situation more pertinent to what's going on with the veterans right now, which is they built a building for veterans solely, and they were supposed to be open on May 1st.
Here on the property?
No, not on the property. It's in the community. But it's a building solely for veterans. It's supposed to have opened on May 1st. That didn't happen. A lot of these veterans out here have applied for it, did all the paperwork, all the stuff they were told to do to get in that building. And not only did they not open it on time, when they did finally open it, I think it was beginning of August that they started letting people in, they trickled them in one by one. You know what I mean? And that's disheartening to all these veterans out here who have all done the same thing, including myself, who have all done the same, fill out the same paperwork, went through the same process, but yet they're hand-picking who they want to put in there, one by one.
You're right about that.
And then that's I'm telling you, that has a lot of these veterans out here
affect
discouraged.
that, I think. Collectively, I hope.
But I mean, like some of the people are approved by county. It's just like the building or whatever the situation is.
It didn't go as planned.
Right. And there's no explanation to veterans. There's no explanation as to why one person's getting in the building and another isn't. You know what I mean? They're all equally homeless. We're all equally homeless. You know, they just go ahead and they. Yeah. I know. They're not letting anybody know anything. Like one day, one person will go, and they won't come by and say, "Okay, this is the situation. This is why you guys haven't went yet." They just go ahead and handpick people as they see fit. Right now, I think there's 4 veterans houses in this building. Yeah, I filled out my paperwork. I went to the building. They showed me my future space. And now I'm still sitting in limbo as I watch other people go in one by one. And it's not just me.
Are you ready to go right now?
I'm ready to go right now.
We'll call Rebecca.
So I'll
Don't
take
leave.
your name first, and then let me call because I actually am well aware of this.
What I heard him say too is a lot of times you're wondering what's going on. And I think that's one of the things that we get ahead of, in the sense that open communication. Like this issue right here, I think we can impact it today. I think. Because I met with them, and there's another conversation to be had, but those kind of things we're talking about manpower and efficiency and getting people going, if there's openings and they're ready to take them, that is where we can cut through some of those obligations. That we can. It might even be taking somebody. That was pretty. We'll take you for the first time in the front seat of a police car. If it's simply transportation, you never know. But the host team does cut through those obstacles. So I'll talk to Gabriel.
One aspect, I think communication. I just talked to Larry and I wanted to talk about this.
Stay here because I'll keep notes and we'll get into those details. Because that way.
Hey, you mind if I ask a question? I had a question. My name's Senate.
What is it?
Senate.
Senate? Like
Yeah.
Congress and Senate?
Yeah.
Hi, Senate.
Ted Lieu. Where's Ted Lieu? In Echo Park and in Venice, we saw sheriffs and police come.
We were never at Echo Park, ever.
Okay, what about Venice Beach?
Yeah.
So we saw them coming in late in the morning, early morning?
No. The host team deployed at Venice, the honest truth. Everybody's confusing park rangers with the LA County Sheriff host team. The host team deployed at Venice Beach from 9 in the morning to 11 or 12. 3 hours at a time. We never went at night. We never go in the early morning. The host team is transparent in the light of day. The host team never went to Echo Park. That was not our organization.
So the one question I have is a lot of the people that they did go to were offered services that were sometimes 20 plus miles away. Here there's obviously a property here, so it seems like, is that going to be the same thing, that they'll be taken 10, 15, 20 miles away? Or?
The people that the host team placed, they volunteered to go. Some of them are already housed in their own apartments. I don't know the number, but they went to some pretty unique situations. 3 went to inpatient rehab centers that are working with Jason Schneidman from the Men's Groomer Foundation. So nobody was taken, they were given an option, they took it, and the ones that went to the Salvation Army Bell Shelter, that's what, 20, 30 miles from Venice, but that was a choice. They made that choice. That was the option that we had at that moment, and they chose to take it. We don't move people. So no, we're not going to say we'll help you if you go 30 miles. What we'll say is here's your options.
And we have closer options here.
Yeah, way more options. Venice, do not.
Well, it should be here. Should be the option. Clearly, like, this is the only place. It's not even an option.
Today, if any of you all want to come into a Bridge Home or CTRS today, you can come today.
So is there anybody that wants to go in today?
There's another thing that we have to remember here. The domiciliary that has all the treatment, they're shut down right now for admissions until the earliest at August 28th. That's because of a COVID outbreak.
Why is that, Matt?
Last week it was a Bridge Home. Last week was a Bridge Home, so I'm saying we're going last week a Bridge Home was shut down.
Isn't 214 a domiciliary for COVID infected people? No, let's talk about
everyone
it.
needs to be aware of. These are things that happen.
No, and that's those are the things we can't control, right?
You're absolutely
So we can control it. It's the law.
There is sometimes some of the staff or the veterans have gotten COVID, so we can't have new admissions. The Bridge Home is open now. CTRS is open now for anybody that wants to come in. They're going to see what's life. What's that? They're going to want to see what's life. And the only people that are here because they're not popular. 501c.
I've never been out there. This is like my first experience of dealing with this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I've always had a bash or something going for me. I left bash and put me in a hotel. The hotel dissolved and they just put me to the street and they said, we can't do nothing for you. I'm willing to work with you guys whenever you know.
Why is the domiciliary not letting people in? Especially when 214, when you kick the female veterans out of 214, and so you're transferring it last April April before last into a COVID unit domiciliary. Why aren't you admitting people in?
Well, right now there's been a COVID. There's been some positive.
Yes, and it's a COVID domiciliary, right? 214 is for COVID infected veterans.
You're misunderstanding what it's for.
Okay,
So the third floor building 214 is for COVID positive veterans or persons under investigation for COVID. The rooms are negative pressure rooms. They're specialized to keep the virus contained.
And what is 217 for?
217 is a regular document.
Okay, are we wearing masks right now, you and I?
We're outside.
Okay, why can't you let veterans into the domiciliaries? Why can they only go into a little tent with a private security contractor? Or why can they only go into a drug rehab? Do veterans have physical disabilities? Okay. Are veterans senior citizens? Why aren't you opening up 217 and 214?
Restriction on it because there was a COVID outbreak.
Do you believe that? Yeah, do you believe that that is ethical?
No. Do I believe it's
just a
ethical?
simple
Do I believe that
question.
it actually is happening?
Do you believe it's ethical?
Yes, I believe it's ethical. I think it's a strategy to keep as many veterans as possible. Okay. And we have alternatives. We have another treatment facility up in Tarzana, which we contract with.
In Tarzana.
We could transport up and back. Anything else?
Why not just take?
I've done like 5 different homeless counts all over LA County, Bellflower, everywhere. I mean, I've just done with Dale, I've done it with Dan. What hurts the worst is you get told no. You get told no all the time. Can't do this, can't do that.
No, that's not something to question.
Once you start being more Congress people out here, more senators out here, and let them hear really what's going on out here.
They can be isolated.
You know what's strange? It's like they got all this in his pocket, right? Like, oh, you need help. But it's like, it's really just like,
you're robbing doors.
It's just, because if that's real, let's go right now. Why don't we walk and check all right now? Right? I mean, that's what I'm asking. You seem to have the ability to place people. That's what you keep. They ask questions, you place them. So how about we right now walk? You have all night.
That's okay. It's not okay to be in there. That's correct. So I just want to make sure I understand this correctly. You can't be in building 217. You can't get temporary housing there, transitional housing there. You can't get transitional housing there because of something having to do with COVID, but you can be out here So it becomes an issue with LA County law enforcement. Right? I'm not sure. What we're talking about here is there are homeless veterans out here. Okay?
That's why we're
who would like who are not drug addicts. Right? Not all of them are drug addicts.
They wouldn't be appropriate for the DOM anyway.
That's a substance abuse.
That's only substance abuse. Okay, what do you have for veterans here without substance abuse?
It's a mental health residential. It's different track.
Okay, what treatment is there for veterans who are, let's say, physically disabled senior citizens?
Well, we have a community living center, just like a
And why do we have?
You have a what?
Community living center. It's like a
what is that? What is that?
You got jammed.
215. It's on the other side of Console, the right building.
213 maybe?
It's here on the VA.
215, yeah, 215.
And then there's the Calavets.
Right across the street from the dentist.
Right.
Okay, now Calavets is a retirement now.
It's also has skilled package.
Right, but it's a retirement. So this is supposed to be homeless veteran, right? How many homeless veterans are there?
It's for veterans that need skilled nursing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, so why do we have veterans out here?
If you're a homeless veteran, you would like transitional housing on the 400-acre federal property that's a soldiers home for homeless veterans. You have a physical disability, you're a senior citizen, you're a homeless veteran, you're disabled, but you're not a drug addict. Where can you go?
Well, it depends. And so we have CTRS, we have a bridge home.
Okay, but if you don't want a tent, if you're, let's say you're 65 years old, you're physically disabled, you're a veteran. Okay, so your comment
Would you go into a bridge home?
but the bridge home is like an $11 million tent. Right? It's not like a real. We're talking about like services, transitional housing, that kind of stuff. It's a big tent.
Well, we have placements though all throughout LA County.
Right.
If you have facilities for the veterans, why are they out there on the street, on the sidewalk?
I'm sorry,
I said the gate's open.
but that's what we want. And so, the only thing I'd like to have the conversation without that, because then we can get down to some details. I'm learning the system. I know the big thing, but because even when we were here before, our LASA team, they were amazing. They placed every single person. So I don't know the nuts and bolts of the federal system. All I know is he was gracious enough, because when we came to him, I said, look, and we showed him the whole host model, because he wasn't here before when we were here.
He's trying to shut down the meeting right now.
Huh?
20 minutes ago he said it's time to close up.
I think they have meetings they have to go to. So
I gotta move. I gotta get the tent.
you have to take this.
Well, take the
I'll
tent.
stay. But he was gracious. He was gracious enough to give us the time. I'm telling you, I'm not going nowhere. I can sit outside. This is just one of many. But they have a schedule. I don't have one, but I am on this. He granted us that, you know. But I'll still talk with you. I'll talk with you all day.
It sounded to me like he wanted to shut down the meeting.
Well, they have to take their stuff in because they have another thing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take the tents.
So I'll stay with you. But I think too.
My name is Larry Lovewood, and I'm 85 years old.
You look younger than 85, my man.
And I'm here to support. I'm with Francisco's group, the coalition, and I'm retired from law enforcement. I'm retired from the Army. I'm retired from county social worker.
Well, thank you for all your service.
You're welcome. And so I'm here. What I want to say is this. We prefer the veterans that are out there on the sidewalk to come in here to the VA property.
I think it's even past prefer. How are we going to feel about
Let me finish. But if that's not possible, I've talked over with Francisco and the others in the coalition. We'd be happy for the veterans to be placed in appropriate settings like a hotel, apartment, whatever would be appropriate. Have facilities for bathroom, for kitchen.
I have access to all those resources right now.
And so I don't know what's the why the time lapse.
I don't know. All I know is I'm here now. The host is here. We have access to all those resources. I did hear a lot of concerns about the VA system, and that'll be above me. But I think we can navigate some of it. But I have resources in addition to.
That's
so
great, because
my resources are actually more separate than here.
Where we're coming from is the VA has blocked the veterans from coming onto this property. We don't understand, except there must be corruption around.
Wait, when you say block them from coming,
yeah, you don't see them. I mean, you see them in tents over here and out there.
Let us take you on a tour to show you all of the buildings that UCLA isn't having that used to be.
they're going to take me on a tour later on.
Not them. Let Brian, let this gentleman right here.
Yeah, Ryan Thompson.
Let Ryan
I'm just
Thompson.
done with this camera stuff. This is
It's transparency. It's for the community. That's all. There's only so many people that could come here.
The
So.
guy that's in the back kind of going like this, like he wants to tell me something about like a personal situation.
Oh, okay.
So someone's talking about, because I have my mental health counselor here. They're trying to tell us stuff, but they're like.
We want this broadcasted, certainly.
That's why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
In the open. But the guy's telling me, he's showing me like, no, they're filming. I'm like, what do you want me to do?
Doesn't matter.
But that's my point.
I don't understand.
I don't know. I never told people not to film, but guys are saying things that will get help because everybody's
They did help. We took it. They actually transported. So it's not a sleep. It's an actual help.
There's, well, let's be, but they.
Chris Lewis, I know him well. I work with them in Parnell Park and Gary when we clean out the encampment there. And they do. They transport him to Gargana. The guy went to rehab. He's in rehab. Now he's in sober living. He's doing great. He's living on the beach. So they did.
Are you with the sheriffs or?
No, I'm not with them. I work with them. We work together.
And where are you with?
I'm with Joe Survival Team.
Cool.
And I come out here, we do the barbecues out here every Sunday. We're going to have one on the 29th. So, you know, big yeah. So we all.
I mean, when you, in Venice, a lot of stuff was done bad. It's hard to say who does what, right? Because everyone's wearing different uniforms, then they're changing up stuff, they're coming in casual clothes, a lot of guns, a lot of force, and a lot of stuff in the middle of the night. It's hard to know who's doing what, but if they're working with teams doing stuff, it is them. And so at the end of the day, they lay the law of the land. But at the time being, at the time in the moment, and so if it's 2, 3, 4, 5 a.m., people are harassing people in tents, that's on them, in my opinion.
They got the resources.
That's out of our hands, right? Right now, we can't make
all of Venice.
It sounds like this is the thing that actually is the problem. This is kind of just, I don't know what this part finishes. It really seems like this is the issue. We're on land that should be for people. This is, you know, the sheriffs, I don't know how they will, we'll see.
As long as they don't give up like they did in Venice, everybody got housed. Whether they stay housed.
I don't know. I mean, they moved. Let's say they moved. Everyone moved. Not everyone was housed. A lot of people just went 6 blocks, 7 blocks in. Well, yeah, and then they'll be back. That's not housing everyone there. Go 7 blocks into Venice. It's worse than it was before. So telling people... Exactly.
But I'm there.
But my biggest thing with this particular spot is they can't treat that like those spots because they're literally supposed to be fucking here. So to bring anyone 5, 10 miles away, and that's a huge issue, right? You bring someone 20 miles away to the Inland Empire for whatever service, dude, it's impossible. But yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, it's in we did better today.
Someone die out here.
This is my favorite.
I want to give you one of my cards.
He doesn't like cameras. It's weird.
I'm on camera all day long. I just want to talk to someone.
Right. We're just broadcasting.
Guys that are waiting to talk with us.
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's not a political event.
Of course.
She's running for office.
That has nothing to do with it. I'm filming you, champ. Don't worry about that. You are part of what I'm broadcasting. Wait, what are you talking about? I'm here because you're here. see it? He doesn't want to be broadcasted. Just so you know, I'm only here because you're here. That's why I'm literally filming for the media, for transparency.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
But the lady that we were speaking with, she said she's running
All
for
good.
office,
That's not part of.
and we're not a political effort.
Don't
we're
worry
a
about that.
humanitarian effort.
Don't worry about that. Certainly.
But it's not the same.
A little bit. I mean, you ain't gonna believe it.
Are you from over Venice?